Hello and welcome to Women Engage. We're so pleased that you could join us on our program today. Today we're going to be talking about working mothers. A very interesting topic. If you would like to engage with us, engage with our topic, engage with one another, please look for us on our Facebook page, Women Engage, and continue the discussion. For now, I want to welcome our panelists that are here today, and we want to begin by introducing ourselves to our audience. Ladies, I'm going to ask that you state your name, and because we're talking about working mothers, I'll ask that you also tell us how many children you have, tell us about your children, and then also tell us what you do professionally. So I'll begin. My name is Jocelyn Isabirie. I have two teenage children, 17 and 14 years old, and I am a teacher and an administrator by profession.
My name is Rose Misati. I have 4 children between the ages of 6 and 17. I work as a public health specialist.
My name is Isabel Kemunto. I used to be a teacher, secondary school teacher for about 30 years. And I took an retirement. I'm now at Adventist University of Africa, pursuing a pastoral program, specializing in chaplaincy. God blessed me with 4 children, 3 girls and 1 boy.
I'm Debbie Maloba. I'm a mother of 5 children, 3 girls and 2 boys. And I'm in charge of women, empowering them, nurturing them, and also children in East Central Africa Division that is located here in Nairobi.
Thank you, thank you. Okay, so we're all mothers here. We're all professional women here. We all work or have been working and now a student full-time during your postgraduate studies. So I think maybe, first of all, I'm going to ask a very basic question. Why do we work? Because there was a generation where you would not have the phrase working mother. If you were working, you were not a mother. If you were a mother, that was your full-time occupation. You would not be working. But now we talk about working mothers. So why do we work?
For me, I work to supplement the family income because surviving on one income in my circumstances is difficult because we're also supporting our extended family. Those my parents and the parents of my husband and our siblings as well. So I work to supplement the income. And also, as a career woman, I enjoy and love my job. And I like to make a difference in people's lives.
I work to support the family, but I also work to be active. Because if I don't work, I think I will go down and grow very old. And I think you can see I've not grown old because I've been working. Yes.
Yeah, I also, I'm not apart from what they have said. I work to also contribute to our family development and also to supplement to what my husband brings. So together we may contribute to the development, not only of our family, but of our community, our church in one or another way. But also, I want to be involved in developing women and helping them to grow and also to use the gift, their given talent and gift that God has given them. Yes, to nurture them.
So as well as these reasons that you've given, I think another reason why I work is I have gifts. I have talents. I have skills that God has given me, and I want to share these with others to help to build not just my family, not just because I'm supporting my family financially, but also to be able to make a contribution to my society. So we have all of these good reasons why we are working, but it's not easy. It's a real challenge. Being a working mother can be very difficult. And I have a lot of respect for women who, not because they had no choice, but even out of choice, women who, some of them as qualified as we are, have chosen not to work and have been able to stay home and look after their children. I have a lot of respect for those type of women in that situation, especially those who not everyone has the choice. There are some people who, if you're a mother who your husband is not able to meet the financial needs of the family, you might be forced to work. But there are those who make the sacrifice and sacrifice all of these things, and they choose to stay and look after their children. So we don't want to diminish that role. Yeah. But there's a challenge that comes from being a working mother. What are the challenges that come from that?
First of all, let me just say it's quite commendable for mothers who can make a deliberate choice to stay at home and nurture their children, especially in their formative years. And just to add my voice to what you have said, I've got tremendous respect for them. Being a working mother is very challenging. It's a delicate balance because the demands are high. First, at the workplace, you will find that there is a saying that says that the woman has to work twice as hard, and it's real because of the societal expectations. When you come home, there are these children to be nurtured, there is the home care, the home to be taken care of, and the woman has to sacrifice longer hours, especially when the children are young. And it can be very exhausting. Like in my circumstance, every day I wake up at 4 a.m. because I have to cook for my family, my children, and my husband. I have to prepare the first lot, who leave at about 5:30 to go to school. Then I prepare the second lot, who leaves at 7. Then I prepare myself and go to work. In the evening, I have to rush to come and check the homework and make sure that the Bible stories are done and the prayers, put them to bed. So when I went to catch up with my work, I'm so tired. So many of the times, in fact, when people ask me, how are you? I say tired. But I know it's just for a while because now they are young. But when you see the fruits are very satisfying. Yeah, and for a woman, I feel it calls for wisdom to understand your seasons. Because there's a season whereby you say, if it work, let me put school aside until the children grow, then I can now study, I can now travel. So I feel priorities and understanding your seasons is important, that you can't do everything and do it at once and do it well.
If you don't engage yourself actively, you find yourself going down. Even the brain starts going down. And when you are working, it puts you on the run. Because you have to take care of your husband. He's your firstborn. You have to take care of your children. You have to take care of yourself. You have to take care of your work. But this makes you to be alert all the time. And you know, for ladies, we want things to go well. You don't want anything to go wrong. So that gives you the motivation to move, to continue moving. And you know, when you work, as a lady, sometimes you are seeing even a new fashion. So you are not behind, you are able to move. You are hearing other ladies are going to school, you also want to go to school. So you find
you're engaged.
You're
engaged with
engaged.
the outside world
You are
apart
moving.
from your family.
I want to give an example. I went to the US 2012 after I retired. I found myself 6 months I am in the house doing nothing. I said, no, this cannot. I found myself, I was not engaged. I had to come back.
I have to say, for me, one of the challenges that came from being a working mother, particularly when my children were younger, I wasn't seeing things the way Isabel is saying, that, you know, I'm working, it's keeping me alert. For me, it was guilt. I felt awful not being home to take care of my kids. I felt terrible, you know. I didn't breastfeed as long as I'd wanted to, because it became difficult to pump where I was. You know, all these complications that come because I'm working and coming home and trying to do this, you know, and I felt so guilty. You know, I'd wanted to breastfeed for 2 years, you know, and looking for childcare for my child, you know, and having to leave my child with strangers. Oh, that was so painful for me. And I've had friends. I have a friend whose husband was earning big money, and she's been, you know, able to stay home and take care of her children, worked for some time, and then stayed home also for some time. And she was admiring those of us who work. And I was saying, oh, you're so lucky. So for me, that was a challenge. And not everyone necessarily goes through that. But for me, that was a challenge. I would have loved to stay home for my kids during their formative years.
I've given birth to 3 children. I've adopted 1. When I look at my 3 boys, the firstborn didn't breastfeed as long because I got pregnant almost immediately when he was 5 months. So he didn't breastfeed for 2 years. But the others breastfed for 2 years and exclusively for 6 months. I can tell you, and science has proven, that when a child breastfeeds longer, they are more emotionally attached. When I look at my relationship with my son, my firstborn, we are very good friends, but not very emotional. The 2 of them will come and hug me at night and say, Mommy, good night, I love you, miss you. But my son will just say, cheers, I'm gone.
The son is the one that you breastfed
For a short time.
For a short time.
The older one. All of them are 3 boys.
See, those are all the things that would make me feel guilty.
Yeah. So right now, I feel it's not even because I was working far. I was working very near, but I got pregnant very soon, so he didn't have the privilege. And so most of the time, because I was either tired or nauseated, he was with my sister or the house help. So I have seen, even the way we relate, we are friends, but not too emotional like the others. So I have to put in a little effort to ask him, how are you doing? Why are you not telling me? Then he says, I just don't want to bother you. So you see, we are just good. But the others, we are very closely connected. I look at them, they look at me, you can tell. So what that taught me is that now, as I was growing older in the profession, I've had to make deliberate choices, leave very lucrative positions worth millions of shillings and travel for the sake of the children, because I know they are here for a very short time. And now they are growing, then I will make the choices. So I was informed by the guilt, I feel, and I said, let me do something about the guilt.
Yeah, maybe let me also share my experience. When you start combining working and home, it's not easy. It's not easy. The way even people, they perceive it. They start judging you. How come? I travel a lot. I started, when I got married, I started now traveling. And I remember my first child was only 5 months old when I traveled. I had to attend a meeting, a big meeting. And on our way, I remember in one of our big airports, I was just feeding my baby. She was crying. Now one of our colleagues, he said, you see, that's why we don't want ladies to be involved. And I felt guilty. I said, is it wrong? What did I do wrong? Yeah. That is why it started. Not myself, but because for me, I was happy. I was traveling with my baby. Now, when we reached the place, she started crying. I could hear her voice while in a meeting. Now, though I was physically in the meeting, but my spirit, I said, oh, maybe that's why they are not, they are against. It's because of this. Now I have to go to just look after my baby. I'm not concentrated, I'm not focused. Now my baby, she was 9 years old. That is when I started now to see now the outcomes. Because she started now crying when I travel. Mommy, you mean you are traveling? And it affected her. For me, I thought, because now she's growing, she's getting used, that was becoming now worse. I said, God, what is happening? It was now impacting her. So I prayed, I said, God, please help me. Help me because you have called me. I want to use the gift you have given me. But here I have a challenge of leaving my children. Only God knows. At a certain point, God gave us the strength. So we praise God. We praise God. God helps us also to take care of
Now I'm just thinking, if I felt bad and I would go home and come back, I would be home by 5 o'clock latest every day. And that was killing me. Now imagine having to fly away, and be away for days. It's not easy. It's not easy.
I think the challenge is there. But as ladies, we need to deliberately create time. to bond with our children, especially when they are young, even when they are teenagers. You know, as a teacher, I normally, when I'm talking to parents, I tell them you need to create time with your children and become friends. It's not just father-mother or a father or a mother-child. There must be, you must deliberately create time. Because as a working mother, you will find that you have no time. But you can create, sometimes you can take them out, go out, have 1 week out, have 3 days out, have a weekend out with your children so that you can bond. You know, you might find a mother who is not working, but is not connected with the children.
Yes.
Emotional disconnection.
Emotional
She's there
disconnection.
physically.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, and in fact, you reminded me, I read somewhere that some mothers, for the sake of the emotional well-being of their children, they have to go to work because they are more destructive when they are at home. In terms of, you may be at home and you're bitter. You don't like being at home. So you end up transferring the negative energy to your child. So you are better off going to work and coming home when you're fulfilled. Yeah.
And also, if we're talking about some of the benefits that can come out of the situation, it's being able to model for your children how to be hardworking, how to be organized, how to plan time. Because you have to, you know, just like Rose was saying, when you're a working mother, you have to be organized. You have to plan because you're forced to, because you're trying to balance these two worlds. And whereas if you're staying at home and you can wake up whenever and do whatever, there are some women who are excellent stay-at-home mothers who are able to do it and be very organized, be able to meet the needs of their children, make contributions to their communities while they are staying at home. But then there are some who they've just become, they're staying at home, but it's almost like what is the benefit of your staying at home? You're not connected with the kids. You know, I was sharing with one of my friends and she was telling me that, you know, my friend lives abroad. And for those who live abroad, you know, life there is very different because you can't afford maids, you can't afford, you know, so you have to do everything yourself. And so she came to visit home in Uganda, and the friend where she was staying is saying, oh my goodness, I don't know how I'm going to cope. This lady has a maid, a nanny for the children, has a maid who does the cooking and the cleaning, has another servant who does the gardening. And she's like, oh my goodness, now, I don't know, my maid, the nanny now, is going to the village. I don't know, there's been a problem. She has to go to the village. She might not come back for a week. I don't know how I'm going to cope. So this friend of mine was saying, because she lives, the friend who was telling me this was a stay-at-home mom at that time, but she would wake up in the morning. She has those different groups that you're saying that have to go to school, and she drives them to school. She comes back. Then she starts the housework. She does this, she does that, she does. Afternoon comes, it's time to go and pick up the kids. She goes, she picks up the kids, she comes back. Then the kids are involved in so many, this one's going for this lesson, that one's going for this lesson, this one has this afternoon. So she's running up and down. Then she comes home, she's preparing the evening meal. You know, basically she's busy. As a full-time mother and housewife, she is 100% busy. And when I go to visit her, she's exhausted. By the end of the day, I'm like, oh my goodness, because she's working hard. But then there are those who are staying at home, but they're just staying at home, but they're not connecting with the kids. They're not. So I think both of these, there's room for us to grow. There's room for us to be good working mothers as well as bad working mothers. But there's also, you know, staying at home, but actually, what is the benefit? You're not doing it. Your staying home is not benefiting your family. It's not benefiting you. It's not benefiting your community. Because if you don't plan, you can't put all of these pieces together. So I think there can be benefits from any situation that we find ourselves in. There are always the ideal situations, but life is not always ideal. Sometimes it's by choice, but sometimes it's by circumstance that we find ourselves like this.
And we have to make the best.
But we can make the best out of the
those
situation.
you don't even feel it.
And then, you
Yeah.
have reminded me something when you talk about us modeling what it means to be hardworking to our children.
Yes.
A few years ago, my son, my second born, felt I wasn't working as hard because I would give them stories how I was the best in the village, the first girl from the county to go to a national school, the topmost in national school, went to university, did maybe the most prestigious course. But then he looks at me and says, Mommy, when I look at you, I don't see that. Oh. I would show them TV, people who are my classmates, but who are not performing maybe as well as me. Say, but you show me this and that, and you say you're in the same class, and you were number 1, and they were number 20, 30. Look at them and look at you now. And he would really challenge me and say, it's embarrassing for you to give those stories. When you come to my school, because I go to speak in his school, don't give those stories of you being the best. Because it's an embarrassment, even the car you drive. So I would tell him, it's because I've made sacrifices to be there for you. He said, just an excuse? I don't think so. So along the way, fast forward, I got a very good job, extremely prestigious. So I shared with them. I told them I've been given this international job and the pay is this millions and you can have everything you want, at least material. Then he said, okay, go on. I said, here is the catch. 75% travel. In 1 month, I'm here for 1 week, 3 weeks, I'm out because I'm overseeing a number of countries. And what that means, I will not be there for your closing day, for your open day, to cook for you, to prepare you to school. I will not be there. He said, you know what, Mom? Drop it. Sorry, don't take it for now. Because I was always there for their school activities and to cook for them. Since that day, my son has never challenged me. He says, Mom, thank you. You chose to stay with us. Don't worry, a time is coming. Yeah, so that was my experience a few years ago. Yeah.
And by the way, the woman who stays at home, that's why I gave the example of this other woman. Because the woman who stays at home is a working mother. The work that goes on there at home. So the reason I gave the example of the other lady who had 3 maids and now she's panicking because she can't take care of her child and she has no job. Then you start wondering, so what is, yes, she had no job outside the home, but she was, her husband is affluent, so she dresses well. She goes and she does the manicure, the pedicure. She goes out for, coffee and tea with her friends. She goes and does her hair. She looks good. But then you're like, honestly, what is your contribution
So that's
now?
the wrong image she was talking about.
So I think that you can be a mother who stays at home and you're a working mother in terms of you are working for your family. You are making sure your children's needs are met. You are making sure that their physical, emotional, and spiritual needs are being met. You are making sure that your home is organized and is running well. So I don't want to diminish those women because those women often work very, very hard for no pay and no appreciation. I've always said one of the worst jobs is being a housewife because you'll clean the house, they'll come and make it dirty again, you clean it again. It's like you keep doing the same thing and no one appreciates because they take it for granted. You're just at home. So I have a lot of respect for those women who make that choice to stay at home. And I don't think we can generalize and say that, because they've stayed, they're not going to be able to make a contribution to their families because they make a very big contribution that might not be quantified in terms of money. And then in some societies here, in Africa, we're very lucky because maids are relatively affordable. For almost anyone can have a maid because there's always someone who's poorer than you and will work for even less than you'd
but elsewhere it's very difficult.
It's actually, when you look and you quantify,
it's more expensive
to take your child to childcare than to work. So actually, even when you stay home and take care of your children, you're actually making a financial contribution to the family. And not only financial, but you're nurturing and all of that. So yes, and it is. So we've run out of time. We could go on and talk about this until tomorrow. But as we wind up, maybe if you have a message, and I would say just a final word that you want to give to our audience, and we'll start with you.
Yeah, I'm challenging that mother who is working in such a way that I tell her that it is not impossible. You can make it. It's just demands your commitment and planning. You may have many things to do, but when you are well organized, you will fulfill it. And it will even help you in your health. It will help you to contribute, to give the best of what you have, so that the society, even your family, will also get advantage. It is not easy, I know, but it is possible. It will even help you to contribute to the development of your community, of your family. Why not your nation?
I want to encourage the working mother that it is doable. And I read a book called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. It says, turning a challenge into an opportunity. Let the working mothers turn the challenge into an opportunity. Connect with your children, deliberately create time for your children, deliberately create time for your husband. Be organized, and you'll make it.
Good. I would like to talk to the mother who is staying at home, nurturing the family. What you are doing, it cannot be quantified. It's of immeasurable value. And the investment you're making in your children, in your husband, in your home, you will reap the benefits. You cannot go wrong. Just to let you know that whatever your hands find to do in the home, do it to the very best. Don't be at home and you're thinking and wishing and hoping and trusting and comparing and contrasting with your friends who are working. Just stay at home and know this is my season, this is my circumstance. Give it your all. At the right time, if you're willing, you can join the workforce. Yeah.
To add to what Rose has just said, actually she took the scripture that I wanted to say, whatever your hand finds to do, do it with all your might. And I'm saying that both for my sister who might be working outside the home and also for my sister who is staying at home. Whatever God has placed in your hands, do it with all your might. Do it, work so that you do it for the benefit of your family, but also to bring honor and glory to your God, because you don't work alone. The strength that you will need, whether you're outside the home or in the home, the strength that you will need will come from the God who has put that opportunity into your hands, who has blessed you with that family, with those children, with the opportunity to either stay at home or with the opportunity to go out and work outside the home. The God that has given you that opportunity will be able to help you, to bless you, to support you, to encourage you. Nothing will be impossible for you. Thank you so much for joining us today as we've discussed our topic. Again, if you want to engage with the topic further, if you want to engage with one another and just share experiences, please find us on our Facebook page. Look for Women Engage. Until next time, God bless you.